Good morning, Arlington and Internet and world in general. I'm Jeff Carpenter here in Glass River Media Studios here at Glass River Media. Imagine that. With me, as always, is Ronan in the corner. How are you doing, Ronan?
I'm doing pretty good.
Pretty good?
Yeah, just pretty good. I'm always doing pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah, well, I guess pretty good. For someone like Ronan, things are either pretty good or they're bad. So you know what?
That is true.
I'll take pretty good. How have you been? You've been a little bit of traveling, right? Out of the office. We gave you a few days off.
That is true, and I'm actually gonna have a few days off next week as well.
What? It's like it's summertime or something.
It is like summertime or something.
Where you're just taking the world tour, right? Where have you been going? France, Milan, Puerto Rico, and Italy, right?
Well, unfortunately, I haven't been to those spectacular places, but I will want to at some point in life go to those places.
In that order, too. You have to go to Europe, then back to Puerto Rico, then back to Europe again. That's the
Yes.
that's the way to do it. If you're not spending all of your time on an airplane, you're not doing it right.
But I mean, not only that, but I also want to go to Germany at some point because
Yeah.
that is where I was from and born. Oh, from I don't know if from is the right term because I was only there for like 3 months.
Yeah.
So
no,
I was
another-
born there, but I don't know if I could say I was from there.
for all of you watching this not in the Washington D.C. area, when you grow up in the Washington D.C. area, all of your friends are born in other countries. But
Not always.
but on army bases. I have known so many people that have been born in Germany, to an army base.
Yeah.
And you're one of them.
I was gonna say what's funny enough. Well, I'm just guessing that the other person that you know is Kirk.
Yes, Kirk is another one.
And
But you're not the only two.
well, oh, okay. I was gonna say because Kirk and I born on the same army base.
Yeah.
So
So I've heard it has since been torn down, but
Yep.
it's
right after I left.
responsible for a large portion of Glass River Media. I guess there's some history there. I guess someday, yes, you do need to go, and we need to do some episodes from there.
Yep.
But I'm sure it's some sort of supermarket now or something.
Jeez.
I have no idea, but yeah, now I'm curious as well. We got to find out what's going on
In that area,
in
yes.
Germany.
Yep.
I went to where my dad was also. His dad was in the Marines, so my dad was
Okay.
also born on military base,
Mhm.
in a place called 29 Palms, California, which
Interesting.
is just the most fascinating name to me because it implies somebody rolled into town 200 years ago and was like, "What is this place? What are we going to call it?" And they start counting the trees.
Oh, 29 palms. Yeah,
like
yeah.
that- and here's the thing: it's like a lot of times they write it just 29. Like they don't.
Huh.
I think it technically is the whole word, but like when you're there, all of the businesses just say 29 Palms Hotel or gas station or whatever.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's out in the desert. It's in California, out in the desert. It's one of these little towns attached to a military base, and my dad grew up there for a while. I got to visit, so I'm saying that yes, you should go to Germany because I got to visit the place
Yes.
where my dad was born about 10 years ago, and it was really cool to see. He always used to tell me stories of finding scorpions in his shoes, and this was back in the
I mean, that is the desert, so.
back in the 1950s. Child rearing worked a little differently. He and his brother used to go and get on like when they were like 8 years old,
Mhm.
they'd get on a freight train.
Interesting.
And just like ride for like 4 hours north, and then get on another freight train, come home in time for dinner. They just
Oh, wow.
ride freight trains because they're like seriously, they're out in the desert. There's nothing around.
I was gonna say time is very different back then. Like,
so you're either riding a train or playing with a snake. Those are your two
jeez, or scorpions in your boot.
two choices. So I can see the appeal of trains.
Yes, yes, very true.
Anyway, what did you get up to on your trip?
Well, like I said, unlike Milan or Italy or France, like you were talking about, I went tubing.
Tubing.
Yes.
So it was rafting last time. This time tubing. Do I have that right?
Correct. And there is very much a difference.
Oh, what's the difference between rafting and tubing? To me, you're on an inflatable on
Yes.
the water. What's
Well, I guess
different?
I guess that is the story of both. But rafting is a bigger boat. I think when we went, there was 7 people on that raft,
Okay.
and tubing is just yourself. So, tubing just yourself, and yeah, just yourself.
So I've done tubing in a controlled lazy river at a resort.
Yes.
I bet you went somewhere more interesting. Is that
Yes, this was the Rappahannock River,
the river?
which
Okay.
surprisingly I didn't know was that close to us.
Where did you have to go?
This was Fredericksburg.
Oh, not bad at all.
Yeah, it's a 30-minute drive south.
Were you under there's like a big bridge that goes over, and then
Yes.
yeah, I've seen that. There's
That was actually the ending point.
oh, the end. Okay, there's
Yes.
all this like kind of beachy area
Mhm.
where people are out having picnics. So
Yep.
you started further up, and then you rode the raft down
Yep.
tube that's kind of right by Main Fredericksburg there. That's cool.
Yeah, so it started in like the outdoor center. It was like the Virginia Outdoor Center or something like that. And at the very end, we ended in Old Mill Park, which I think is
I
where
think
you
that's
were
what I'm
talking about
talking
with the
about.
bridge. Yes.
Yeah, it's right there. You
Yep.
see it from the road.
hmm
That's pretty cool. How long did that take?
It was like a 2 hour thing.
Oh wow.
And yeah, so we went through like there's many parts where it was just calm. Like the reason why we didn't go rafting is because the river was a lot more harsh during rafting. You got like a whole tour guide and paddles, and it was just a whole ordeal.
Yeah.
But tubing, just like in a lazy river, except you don't have any water coming down on top of your head, like in lazy rivers.
But you're just floating.
Yes, you're just floating down.
Do you
And
do you
so-
take food on that? You like have a picnic on your lap while you're sitting in a tube?
So, no, or at least when we went, we didn't. It was just a normal raft tube, or it
Yeah,
was just a normal
tube.
tube at like a lazy river.
Okay.
Except these had little cup holders, so you could bring a drink if you wanted.
So when you're done, do they van you back to your car, or do you leave your car at the park and van to the starting point?
You start at the starting point, and they have a bus with a trailer that takes you and the tubes back.
So did I have that right? So you're not ending in Fredericksburg. You're ending back where you started. Or
What do you mean? No, we start at the outdoor center. We tube all the way down to Old Mill Park, and then
ride back to your car.
Yes, a
Okay,
bus and everything
My point
comes
is,
back.
you didn't end up with your car in downtown Fredericksburg. You were up the river.
Yes.
Okay. So what I was getting to, I'm going to name drop a business here. If you were by that park in Fredericksburg and you
Okay.
had a car, you got off the tube and had to get in their van, right?
Yes.
Okay. So this wouldn't have worked. But if you happen to be in that park in Fredericksburg with your own vehicle,
Mhm.
you need to drive over that bridge and make the first left you come to
Okay.
and go to Carl's Frozen Custard.
Oh.
That is like absolutely in Fredericksburg the I mean, there's lots of things in Fredericksburg, but that's the first thing you need to do in Fredericksburg. So it's a shame that they kidnapped you in their van and drove you away from it, because I'm telling you right now, if anybody is watching this near Fredericksburg, Virginia, go to Carl's Frozen Custard. It's amazing.
Well, what makes that story even better, and I mean, I guess you should have told me beforehand,
Yeah, you didn't tell me where you're going.
is because when we were leaving, we were coming back up north because it was raining like right after we went tubing, and it made us go on that same bridge that we
so you ended
went
up back
under.
there.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, no, you should have told me. You need to tell me everywhere you go on weekends, because I know things.
Yes.
I mean, so frozen custard, first of all, it's not ice cream. It's a higher fat content.
Okay.
Normally, you find frozen custard more near beach towns or like vacation spots. If
I mean, I guess this is near a river, so it's
I
almost
guess,
the same.
yeah. But if you're ever on vacation, if you're like, I don't know what frozen custard is. If you've ever been on vacation and you get a soft serve ice cream cone
Mhm.
and you lick it and it's just like thick. It's just
Yeah.
like it has been there, I think, since the 1950s.
Oh,
And not only is the building the same, the
Mhm.
machine is the same. You can see it making the custard, and it's clearly the kind of, it's like all silver and chrome. It's clearly the kind of thing that every night they take it apart, wash it, and put it back together. It's just
I
like
see.
a big. It's not like a little, like the little ice cream machine at McDonald's.
oh
It's
yeah, of
like
course.
this big, huge machine making
That's cool though.
dessert for you, and
It's
it's
just
just very neat to watch.
Yeah, it's just like when you go to Krispy Kreme.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
Alexandria,
And you
and
get to
they're
watch
over
the
there.
donuts.
Yeah, you get to watch the donuts being made on the conveyor belt and everything.
Yep. When I was a kid, Ronan, so that Krispy Kreme in Alexandria,
Yes.
about 2 doors down,
Uh-huh.
was the Krispy Kreme factory.
Oh.
So these days there's Krispy Kreme retail locations all over the
Mhm.
place, and a lot of them are making their own donuts, and you go in.
Yes.
Back then there was a factory, and then they would send it out to different stores and
Interesting.
locations.
Okay.
And so it was a similar thing. You could go to the factory,
Mhm.
and you didn't go like in the factory, but they had like a little retail corner,
I see.
where you could
Yeah.
see in a window, see them being made, buy some donuts. And then I don't know, I was probably a teenager. At some point, they tore it down, and 2 doors up built the one you're familiar with.
I see.
So you can
Yeah,
still go
yeah.
there to watch them being made. But back in the day, it was more like a warehouse than a retail location.
I see.
But no, same stuff. Frozen custard since the 1950s. Krispy Kreme, probably the same amount of time.
Probably.
It's just it's history, but it keeps repeating itself.
Yep.
Anyway, desserts aside, what do you have for us on the TV today, Ronan?
So today we are not talking about, yeah, like you said, not talking about desserts or history. We're actually talking about the future.
The future of ice cream.
No, unfortunately, not the future of ice cream, but just the future of.
Grumpy locals are sabotaging Cruise and Waymo robo-taxis with traffic cones. Okay, so are these are like self-driving cars?
Yes, these are
And
autonomous cars that are just taxis.
okay, so I've not heard of Cruise and Waymo, but they are self-driving taxis.
Yep.
And
So there's no. It's just like a taxi, just no one's driving it.
they're putting a
It's
traffic
people in the
cone in
back.
front of it to block it. The tagline here is think of it like a dunce cap, but for a car. Yeah, scroll down here. What else do we got?
So basically, it just turns into a news article.
Tell me about it.
But basically, people are getting fed up by these robo taxis because they are getting stuck in traffic. They're just stopping.
Oh, they're
And-
just
Yeah.
malfunctioning or
Yep.
not knowing where to go.
Sometimes they are crashing into buses.
boy.
Sometimes they are not listening to what police officers are saying,
Of
and
course.
and I've actually seen one of those TikToks where like it's a TikTok of someone just sitting in the back of these self-driving taxis,
Yeah.
and the cop is trying to be like, go this way, go this way, go this way. But the self-driving cars are staying there, and then the people in the back are just like, we're not controlling this thing. Like,
yeah.
like, yeah.
Okay. I keep thinking of self-driving cars as being a thing that it's like, oh, it's your self-driving car. But if you
Mhm.
are in a taxi, you really don't have any control there.
Yes, we don't. Yeah, we don't. And yeah,
What's the location of these? Are these like San Francisco or something?
yep, San Francisco.
Hmm.
And people are just fighting back because they're just doing nonsense.
Okay, that's why.
Like some people are saying that they are going over like water hoses and things on the road.
well, yeah, that I
And
understand.
Let's see.
Google. Oh, okay. Cruise's Google-backed competitor, Waymo. Okay, so Waymo is Google-backed.
Mhm.
Cruise is somebody else. Getting stuck in dead-end
Yep.
streets.
I
Interesting.
think there's. Where was one of the other parts?
So this is kind of like, around here we have the battery powered scooters
Yes.
that people get fed up with because so the scooters, I think the scooters themselves are fine, but
Mhm.
people leave them in awkward places and
Oh,
they don't
yes.
obey traffic laws. And so in this case, it's not the scooters' fault. It really is the people using them. But I have seen online people vandalizing the scooters. You have to scan a barcode on it to open it
Okay.
in your app.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
People are like damaging the barcode. So there's a scooter sitting there, but nobody can use it.
I see.
So yeah, people are fighting back against our robotic overlords.
Yes. Yeah, and they're just putting a cone on it to make it look like a unicorn.
I did see a video once of a guy in a Tesla driving behind a truck that had they were delivering stoplights. There was stoplights on the truck, and the Tesla was just like stop. Like it wasn't actually
Yeah.
stopping, but it kept giving him the warnings where it's like you're running a red light, you're running a red light. It thought he was just constantly running a red
Mhm.
light because of these traffic lights on the truck in front of him. So okay, well, so this is the one. Sometimes being in Washington D.C., we are a little bit behind the curve,
Yep.
and people in Silicon Valley get all these fresh new toys.
And I was gonna say,
But in this case, maybe this is a good idea.
yeah, there's just
Let
all the
them
unicorns.
figure this out.
Yeah.
I keep being of the opinion that self-driving cars are going to eventually become
The future?
well, no, useful in places where the road is modified for them, like
Mhm.
putting magnets under the center line.
Oh, you're talking about kind of like the bus things.
Yeah, like things where the car is getting its information from the road,
Yes.
right? Like Bluetooth signs that only the car can read, or magnets under the road so it knows exactly where it is.
Yeah.
Those kind of things. And you might say like, well, that's going to be impossible all over the whole country. Yeah, it will be, but I
You gotta
bet.
start small.
But guess what? You could do Manhattan that way. You could
Mhm.
do Disney World that way. You could do San Francisco that way. And so, like self-driving cars are not going to be useful everywhere, but they would. You could have self-driving taxis in San Francisco then, and they would be, proper. And because then you could have like control panels where police officers could access the control panel.
Yep.
Go
Oh,
to the,
that is true.
Go to the
Yeah.
corner, and they could have a key that opens up and like divert self-driving cars from this intersection, and they could hit a button. I think it's really gonna. They keep having this dream of like, nope, the car is gonna be smart enough to work on the roads as they are now.
Yeah.
And I think at some point they're gonna have to give in and be like, nope, we're installing Bluetooth on all the roads or something.
I mean, either that or maybe just like a lane.
Yeah. It's like well, these are the areas where they can operate and these
Yeah.
where they can't. And it sounds impossible, but guess what? We put cell phone towers over the whole country.
We do.
I read a funny internet post. This was like 10 years ago. Somebody said, they said, describe a modern technology but imagine it wasn't invented yet, and
Okay.
and argue against it. And so somebody made this whole post where they were like, they're like, yeah, they have these ideas for cell phones, mobile phones, but
Uh-huh.
like this is impossible because the only way it could work is you have a bunch of cell towers dividing up the country, and the amount of work it would take to put towers that they have to be 2 miles apart,
Yeah.
and to put these towers over the entire country is just clearly impossible. And so cell phones will never work. And so it's one of those things where it's impossible until someone has enough incentive or money to do it, and
Yep.
then it becomes possible.
I was gonna say it's just like the change of electric cars, and they just had like this build the whole infrastructure because
Of
we have a
where to
whole
charge
ton
them.
of where
Yeah.
to charge them because we have gas stations,
Yep.
but we don't we as of right now we don't.
So
Yeah,
I
but when they
continue,
first made, yeah,
I continue to predict that at some point somebody's going to wire San Francisco, Manhattan, Washington D.C., Chicago, and Disney World
And
with
Disney World.
like with Bluetooth markers embedded under the pavement,
Mhm.
and then the cars will take their cues from that, and they're
Possibly.
gonna then they'll work perfectly in
Mhm.
those areas, and like I it's gonna happen someday.
So the further takeaway of this article is both these companies are trying to do more testing on San Francisco roads.
Yes. Well, they're all out
And-
there, and so they're all testing in San Francisco. That must be frustrating for the residents.
Yes, and they are doing a hearing to see if they could do more testing or if they should back off on the
Yeah.
testing. And this hearing is July 13th.
Oh, coming up
Yes.
July 13th,
Well,
Patrick Stewart's birthday.
is it really?
It is.
Interesting.
Also, just for the record, I know Patrick Stewart's birthday because it is the same date as one of my relatives' birthdays.
Okay.
I won't say who in case someone's watching the show and wants to try to get into their bank account. I'm not going to say which relative has the July 13th birthday.
Well, I was
but,
going to say, it's just like how Kevin Hart's birthday is the same as my birthday.
interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, you always know that one celebrity. I think Larry Bird shares my birthday, which is now see, I think it's Larry Bird and Britney Spears, but I'm not sure.
I see.
I'm not sure I can claim Britney Spears. That's the one I'm not super certain about. But July 13th
Yep.
is Patrick Stewart's birthday,
Okay.
and
Apparently, when the
the
agency,
AV hearing,
yes,
the AV company's hearing for their services.
to see if they're going to vote on it or not.
So I suspect, just a wild shot in the dark here,
Mhm.
my belief is Sir Patrick Stewart will be showing up at this hearing to celebrate his birthday
yes,
at the hearing about the electric cars in San Francisco.
Mhm.
It all makes logical sense. We're just gonna have to wait and see, though.
yes.
Well,
We will.
anyway, thank you for that. Put a note down to maybe
check on
your calendar
July
on
13th.
July 14th.
When is that day? That's Friday.
The 13th is the Friday.
No, 13th is the Thursday.
Okay, so on Friday, the Friday the 14th,
Yes.
the
Oh,
least
jeez, yeah.
the least creepiest day of the year, we may find out a little bit more about how this went.
Yeah.
I'd be interested in revisiting it
Yep.
because these are some amazing photos. Anyway,
Yes.
we have used up enough of the nice people's time. We are going to sign off now. But if you are still watching, come back tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Thursday? Come back tomorrow. We have a guest, Ronan.
Mhm.
We have a guest. We're bringing in, who is it today? It's Kadisha Honesty.
Correct.
And she's a local business person here in Arlington, Virginia, also on the internet, but also in Arlington. Kind of a dual thing,
Great.
something we know a little bit
I was
about.
gonna say kind of like us.
Yeah, kinda
we're on
like
the
us.
internet and in Arlington.
We are in Arlington and also on the internet.
Yes.
So Kadisha is the same deal, and she's going to be sitting right here with me tomorrow while I hit the microphone. She's going to be right here tomorrow, and we're going to talk about what it is she does.
Yep.
So come back tomorrow, and we will see you then.
Bye.